Show. Be inspired, be empowered. The Anouk Show. Thursday morning on GSSL Radio. Hey.
Welcome to the Anouk Show, where inspiration meets transformation. I'm Anouk, your host and guide on this incredible journey of personal growth and empowerment. Here at the Anouk Show, we're dedicated to lightening up your day with stories of hope, resilience, and success that spark change and fuel your passion for life. Every episode brings you remarkable individuals who have overcome challenges and turned their dreams into reality. We dive deep into their experiences to uncover the lessons, strategies, and mindsets that propel them forward so you can apply their wisdom to your own life. Our mission is simple yet profound: to inspire, encourage, motivate, and empower you to become the best version of yourself. Whether you're driving to work, relaxing at home, or tuning in during your daily routine, the Anouk Show is here to uplift your spirits and remind you that transformation is always within reach. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired. Together, let's embark on a journey of self-discovery and positive change. Welcome to the Anouk Show, where your potential becomes limitless. Let the inspiration begin right after we take a pause to hear from our sponsors. Are you looking to amplify your brand? Well, look no further. Linked Superpowers is the company for you. Linked Superpowers is a cutting-edge global branding, social media, and PR agency. They help to reshape professional visibility and influence. They've been in business for a decade now, and they are on top of the game with proven results. Reach out to Linked Superpowers at www.linkedsuperpowers.com.
Discover apparel that speaks to your soul at Shop Saved. Dive into the collection of faith-inspired clothing and accessories that effortlessly combine style with a powerful message. Whether you're searching for that perfect faith, hope, and love tee, or the popular Saved Grace designs, each piece is crafted to inspire and uplift. Enjoy hassle-free exchanges, free U.S. ground shipping on all orders, and exceptional customer service, because they believe shopping should be as joyful as the message you wear. And don't miss out on 15% off your first order. Let your wardrobe reflect your faith and resilience. Visit shopsave.com. That's SHOPSAV as in Victor, D as in David.com. And wear the message, live the truth.
The Anouk Show. Yeah. Anouk Hey, Show. What you say? Anouk Show. Be motivated. Anouk Show. Yeah, yeah. The Anouk
Good morning. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6 offers a profound wisdom for navigating life uncertainties. The verse states, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight." The call to trust, the first instruction is to trust in the Lord with all your heart. This This emphasizes the importance of placing our complete confidence in God. Trusting God means surrendering our worries and fears to Him, recognizing that He is in control. The next part of the verse reminds us not to rely solely on our own understanding. As people, our perspective is limited. We may not always see the full picture. This encourages us to seek God's wisdom and guidance rather than relying on our own insights. Acknowledging God in all our ways, this calls us to integrate faith into every aspect of our lives, our decisions, our relationships, and our daily routines. Finally, the promise that follows is profound. He will make your paths straight. This signifies that when we trust and acknowledge God, He will guide us on the right path. God's guidance leads us to a fulfilled, purposed life, free from the burdens of indecisions and doubt. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 through 6 encourages us to trust God wholeheartedly, recognize our limitations, acknowledge Him in every aspect of our lives, and embrace the promise of His guidance. As we apply these principles, we can navigate life's challenges with confidence, knowing that God is actively involved in shaping our lives. This is your inspirational moment by Minister Derek Renter.
Anouk Show, yeah. Anouk Hey, Show. What you say? Anouk Show. Be motivated. Anouk Show. Yeah, yeah. Anouk Show. Yeah. It's inspiration time. Come on and renew your mind. Everybody, it's inspiration time with Anouk.
Okay, today I would like to welcome Pastor Robin Weisner, a passionate community activist and a pastor at the Under the Blood Ministries in Oregon. With over 30 years of dedicated service in the Portland area, Pastor Robin has made significant impacts across diverse communities. He holds an Associate of the Arts degree from A.L. Hardy Academy of Theology and boasts a rich background in culinary arts. Robin's extensive governmental experience includes serving as a city councilman for Maywood Park and participating in the Afro-American Legislation Roundtable. Beyond politics, his volunteer work with the Portland Police Bureau highlights his commitment to public safety and community well-being, which has exemplified through roles such as crisis response team member and hiring review board participant. A seasoned leader, Robin has orchestrated key community projects like renaming of the Rosa Parks Boulevard and efforts to address youth violence in his area. His caring nature has united people from all walks of life, creating bridges between politics, social, and spiritual divides. So, Pastor Robin, how are you doing today?
Thank you, Miss Anouk. I can always say I never can complain.
And nobody wants to hear it anyway, though, right?
I always say there's one, if you got the right need, you can get to. He'll listen to it all.
Yes, yes. Well, I am really honored that you have joined the Anouk Show today. And I've given my audience a brief, just a very brief bio. I know you've done some incredible things. You're still doing some incredible things. And I would like to now just pass the mic to you for you to share with my listening audience who you are. When someone says, Pastor Robin Reiser, how would you like to describe yourself?
Well, Ms. Nook, thank you so much for the question. And I would like to say thank you to the audience who are those who are coming in to listen to this wonderful woman of God that has done so much in the time short frame that I've known her in relationship wise. But I say for me as myself, how would I describe myself? First, I look at, and that's a hard question for me because I do so many things, but as the way I announce myself as not important. And the reason I say that is because not important means that there are things that are important, and I don't want to see myself exceed importance. Because again, if I had never, ever went to the cross and I asked God to humbly forgive me for my sins, and he took me from a place like David and brought me to the places that I sit at, I say again that I'm just a simple servant and one who is saved by grace.
Oh, that was very powerful and also very thought-provoking. I have another question for you. You know, in life, I often say life be lifing. And I would love to hear some of the biggest challenges you have faced in your life and how you overcame those challenges.
Thank you again, Nook, for the question. Challenges are what I look at is where that we identify to ourselves, where that the trial, the growth, the beginning of who we are, and then the stripping of that. If I reflect to my biggest challenge is the things that it took for me to align myself into the place of where I wanted to be what God called me to be. And what that was is a man. And where I had to align how that the world described a man, how a world pictured and the culture that we come from, how it defines a man. I realized at that position in time, my life was so far from what God was calling me to be, and I needed to align myself into that. So what I did was I stripped myself into a place of where I was in a sabbatical or in a place of solitude and asked God to recreate me, asked God to help me to be the man that I am. And there is where I begin my walk and learning how that you have to identify to your heart and the things that you have inside you that's not right. And there is where that I begin to move into my challenges. Things that I thought was right did not come to the place of where that God had me to say what was right. The example is relationships. In areas as a man, it describes us in many forms of what it is. But in order for me to be where I am and the man I am now to lead the next generation, it had to begin with the truth that was inside of me and my relationship about myself, and then my relationship with God, and then my relationship to my family, and then my relationship to community. So it took a lot to be able to admit humbly that I had flaws. And then I couldn't, my grandmother used to tell me when I got called to the ministry, the first thing you don't want to do is deceive yourself. And I keep that as a marker every time that I begin to move or think. And the first thing I say in the mornings in my prayer is, Lord, let me not deceive myself. But mostly, Lord, not only let me not deceive myself, but govern my thinking, control my thoughts, zip with my lips and bridle with my tongue. Remove words of deception from my tongues and my lip. That prayer helps me to identify to the things when I notice that I'm falling from where I wanted to be with God, to keep me on track, to know that the Holy Spirit will keep me where I requested before God.
Wow, that was big. And while you were talking, it reminded me it's very important that we continuously go through a journey of self-discovery. And while you were talking, it reminded me of that Michael Jackson song where it talks about I'm starting with the man in the mirror. And I may use some of the words that you just stated and take some of the actions that you just suggested, that life is so busy at times that we're doing so much stuff. We're always on to the next thing. But sometimes we need to go on a sabbatical and we need to just get by ourselves and take time for ourselves so that we can also do a true examination. And did you say your mother said that or your grandmother did? I don't want to.
It was my grandmother. Yeah.
Very wise. Very wise. I'll have to use that one.
Miss Anouk, I had I've been married 3 times. And this is an example of one of the challenge and how do I get there, is that it would be easy to blame others about what failure is. Mm-hmm. And using the example of marriage for the example is that we can always blame others about who and what and how it went wrong. But if I don't look in the mirror and see me, what did I do? How did I participate? What did I reflect as a man to the promise that I said in my vows to God and to her? And when I started realizing that I wasn't as sweet and humble and loving and thoughtful as I was, but what I've done now to change that sense of growth is I've been married 29 years in my marriage now. And we can get so busy, as you said just a minute ago, and think that we're moving in alignment of that. But I married my wife and we eloped to Lake Tahoe. I use the word elope because I wanted to take her someplace and make sure that she realized that everything that God has given me, including the moon, I was going to give to her. And we drove to Lake Tahoe, and Lake Tahoe on our 29-year anniversary, we went back. But the purpose of driving back was that I needed to have a one-on-one conversation with her. In a day, a month, a year, and a time frame of years, I think I'm talking to her. We go our own ways. We wake up in the morning. We say a few things. We keep moving. We're doing so many things. And then we come back, convene, rest, eat, and then we sleep again. And in the morning, repeat the cycle. But this time for me being able to perfect myself is realize that there's nothing that's that big. There's nothing that's important other than have I had a real conversation with her. So we drove to Lake Tahoe 9 hours up and 9 hours back. And it was just me and her in conversation. And what I found out is I did do right because I came back with her them 29 years to the home.
Well, happy anniversary. And that was very insightful. And we often all make mistakes. We fail sometimes, and sometimes we try to cover up the failures, but it's all about learning from our mistakes, and it's about being mature. It's about understanding that your failures don't define you, that you can kind of learn and grow from them. And you are a great example. You state that you've been married 3 times, but this 3rd time, you now have been dedicated and now married for 29 years. So people should remember that don't throw the towel in. There still is an opportunity. If God is in it, it's still possible. So congratulations to you. And
it's like you said, I started looking in the mirror. And when I looked in the mirror, am I what God called me to be in that person's and relationship? I know that those others weren't where that I thought that they should be, but for a man, I had to find me in there so I can lead the generation that I'm very proud of having. My sons, 4 boys and grandsons, and my great-grands, that all even included my mom as you knew her, and my brother and my dad, have looked to me after I found myself. I was able to guide the life that they needed for true wisdom of trying to search for the challenges that they have to deal with. And then they trust the source, because the world has so many places and so many advisors and people. The Bible speaks of that. There are so many people of wolf clothing. But in order for a man to be able to be what God leads the family to, the trusted conversation that we're able to have, and look to that and know that it's not failure, because I know that I seek God first. Not only that, my family knows, my son knows, my mom trusted that the foundation she gave me from her father and mother, that we carried the legacy of making sure that we didn't deceive ourselves, because we want to stand before God.
Yes. Very touching. Very touching. So you've already said some great, impactful things. And on this life journey, this journey where we learn, we grow, what would you say that as you pass on, that you want to be remembered? How do you want to be remembered?
Anouk, that's a great question. And a lot of things that the underlining first thought of the question would be is the things that maybe one of the things of achieving some of the remarkable works of helping and doing those other things that made sure that I was spiritually in line with God. What I realized about being remembered is once a person like you and I have had a conversation, a friendship, and the years of that, once I'm dead and gone, what would you remember about me? That's the most important thing that I would like to be remembered by. Because when you think of me, did I do harm? Or did I have a hidden story where others thought that I was like this, but you knew exactly how I was? But if I'm able to leave where you can remember the very things that helped you, to help me, to help others, and reflect to that same thought of who and what we were, or how I am, I would like to be remembered in the way that you was thought of, how I was thought of in your life or others. And hopefully that's the things that people know about my relationship with God, and how I've encouraged them to hold on to what the things that my family and generations have taught me, that God will be there in times of the most difficult parts of your life and challenges, so that you can stay in the places of what forgiveness and the love of Jesus Christ, who brought you in, and let you know that your flaws was not always so stained, but he can get you to the place where that you trusted him and bring you into eternal life and set you into heavenly places.
Yes. I remember when I first met you, you were so very kind. You had a light that was shining. And as you talk about, you want to be remembered about helping others, I will definitely attest that from the time that I met you, you've been very helpful for me, always willing to provide me assistance, provide a listening ear, some coaching and assistance. And even with this radio show, as I reached out, you were quickly looking to figure out how you could help and to help to elevate this show. So I want to personally thank you on the air for saying that I appreciate you and that you are making an impact, and keep shining that light brightly, because I think one of the last times I talked to you, I was really having a low moment. And then just listening to you, you seem like when you're talking, you're always smiling. And so you just never know how, even though you may see it as something small, how that small gesture may be something that's so big. So I personally thank you. I thank you for saying, hey, Anouk, I want to see how I can help elevate your show. Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Yes, Miss Anouk, if all be said at the end of the day, I want to hear that word, well done. And well done means that how did I do it for God's loved one, his person that he sent me into. If you remember also, we were at a tragic point of my cousin's life where I first met you at the funeral and had to inspire and lift up others. But again, when I take in the thank yous, when I take in, it reminds me of the mentors, our culture, of people who in the church have been poured into my life, my family who've endowed me with the best of who I am. And there it goes back to where I give it back out. So you're so welcome. And again, we count that again, to God be the glory, because the mark is, did I do it right? He'll let me know at the end. But if it sounds like it's doing right, you wasn't deceived, because you got a word from God at the time that we interact.
Yes, I did. That's to that. Definitely. So before we wrap up, is there any other general words of encouragement that you would like to leave this listening audience today?
Yes. And I know that we're spiritual, and I know that we trust and believe in God. To first, before I carry out into my thought of closing of one inspiring, hopeful word, is I will hope that if this is during the time of being aired, that people understand that the most important part of this society where we are right now, the voting is important. I'm a vice president of the NAACP here in the city, and we're working hard at trying to get our people to remember that. My words of encouragement: only be thou strong and very courageous, Joshua 1:9, that thou may observe to do according to all the law that is written therein. For then thou shalt have, the key word, good success. And then the next key word, thou shalt have, then thou shalt make thy way prosperous. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of a good courage. Be not afraid, and neither be thou dismayed. Why? Because the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. That was the time that was a real challenge for Joshua after the loss of Moses, but the beginning of recognizing that when Moses handed him the mantle and he went before God to lead his people Israel straight over, Moses was not going to make it over to the promised land, and Moses was concerned about the people. And in the concerning, he had that conversation with him and God and said, who's going to lead the people? Then there, God had already called your name and my name. He said, Joshua. And when Joshua despair and Joshua was hurt, Joshua had so much love for his leader that what he wound up doing is God giving him a moment to recycle, to deal with the motion and challenge, and went back and inspired him and said, no matter what, you are what I call, because his name surfaced because of being faithful and faithful to the servant of the leader of God. As well as what I encourage you, stay faithful to the one leading, that it is where you're planted, but don't just serve only because of pretense. Don't just serve only because of the fact that maybe I'm here just to be here to occupy a space and it gives me a place of importance. Remember, God will call your name, and I'm a witness because he rose me from the place of where I came out of Houston, Texas. They put me in a special ed class. Told me I would be nobody. From a special ed class, there I knew that it was more to me than that, or the way they wanted me to shape me. But God took me to where now here in Oregon, you heard my bio. But again, I pointed back to those and say, stay strong and be of a good courage. Be not afraid, and for every challenge you go through, and be not dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee, whithersoever thou goest. Miss Anouk, back in your wonderful hands.
Thank you. You are so very inspiring. I really do appreciate your time. In case anyone that's listening today would like to reach out, do you have any contact information you can share?
Sure, you can always contact me by I'm an old guy, kind of over at least 65. I call getting older. So electronically, I am on Facebook, Pastor Robin R. Wiesner, as well. If you Google me, Pastor Robin R. Wiesner, you will be able to find me. Again, my email address is R like Romeo, A as in Apple, M as in Mary, A as Apple, R as in Romeo, WS at MSN.com, or you can go to the city of Maywood Park, and you should be able to Google Maywood Park City Councilman, and you'll find me.
Thank you so much, Pastor Wisner, for sharing your wisdom and for all the incredible work that you're doing to make Portland a better place for everyone. I also thank you for emphasizing to this listening audience today the importance of self-reflection, the importance of owning your own truth, the importance of building and nurturing relationships, and the importance of helping others. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and keep up the good work so that God can continue to shine that light brightly through you as you continue to make an impact on so many. Bless you.
Let's walk together. God bless.
All right. I pray that you've been inspired.
Protect your peace. Isaiah chapter 26 and verse 3. He will keep you in perfect peace. Keep your mind stayed on Him.
Well, that's it for today's show. I really do appreciate each and every one of you for joining us today. Please tell a friend, tell a family member to join us back here same time next week, and let's be inspired and keep on keeping on.
The Anouk Show. Be inspired, be empowered. The Anouk Show. Thursday morning on GSSL Radio.